Hello everyone, GoldenNova here, and welcome to another episode of Plus Ones, a series where we take a single card, break down what it does, and explore what it can do. Duel Overload season is in full swing. The promise of reprints for powerful, tournament caliber cards, along with a slew of OCG imports, has made this one of the most anticipated releases in the past year. Funny how products like these get more hype than core sets. But one thing I did not expect to see were world premiere cards. And while my initial take of the three leads me to believe that Traptrix Genlycia is the best of the three, Hollow Giants is the one that my mind keeps coming back to. Designed as a way to blank the power of extra deck monsters, will this kind of sort of floodgate make an impact on strategies moving forward? Let's go over what it does, and discuss what it can accomplish in the context of our current meta. Hollow Giants is a continuous spell that can only be activated if both players control a monster that was special summoned from the extra deck. It negates the effects of all face-up monsters that were special summoned from the extra deck, and if a monster or monsters are destroyed in battle, and if both of them are monsters that were special summoned from the extra deck, you must send Hollow Giants to the graveyard, and any player who controlled a destroyed monster from the battle takes 1000 damage. So, right off the bat, this is clearly in the going second category of tech cards. It doesn't advance your game plan, but it does look to shut down your opponents by depriving them of important effects. However, it's only going to be useful against certain kinds of opponents. It may seem like it's just for extra deck reliant themes, but I believe it goes even deeper than that. When their boards are built, decks like Spirals, Dinos, and Salamangreats have threats that Hollow Giant just can't interact with, and can even be used to shut it down before it resolves, making the card a moot point. There is a case to be made that it could waste a piece of interaction from your opponent, but the requirement that you also need to have an extra deck summoned monster on the field means that your opponent can likely interrupt your intended game plan while also keeping you off this floodgate. Hollow Giants, it seems, is most effective against themes who exclusively use the extra deck as their field presence, but also ones that don't utilize effects on their opponent's turns that could potentially remove Hollow Giants, or the monster you would need to summon from your extra deck to make it live. This makes it a great fit against decks like Frightfurs, but not so much against a deck like Invoke Shaddolls or Altergeist. And, since it's part of the Going Second Brigade, it does force a comparison with its contemporaries. Nibiru can be used on your opponent's turn and evades a lot of forms of negation. Dark Ruler No More can't be responded to by an established monster lineup, while also letting you keep your extra deck monster effects. And Super Polymerization can't be interacted with at all, and gives you a monster for your trouble. Now, this doesn't mean that these options are all completely better than Hollow Giants. Cards like Dolka and Appaloosa stop Nibiru in ways that Hollow Giants can't be. Dark Ruler all but prevents you from closing out the game that turn by keeping your opponent's life points safe, and Super Polymerization requires some very specific extra deck choices to be used effectively, and some decks may not have the room to fit those cards in. And none of these cards have a burn effect that can be used to help close out the game, and it does have the potential to stay around for multiple turns to keep your opponent off the extra deck. But, despite all of that, the things that make Hollow Giants different doesn't necessarily make it better. Your tech choices need to be tailored to the format that you're playing in, and I don't see this world premiere lining up particularly well against any member of the current competition. It kind of feels like it's the worst possible card type it could have been for the effect that it provides. If it was a hand trap of sorts, it could be used to stop extra deck monsters that are integral for building boards, like Sunlight Wolf or Cross Sheep, during your opponent's turn. And if it was a continuous trap, you could spring it on your opponent during their turn in going first themes. However, as a continuous spell, a card type that MST can negate, with an already dicey activation requirement, I just don't see anyone choosing Hollow Giants over another choice. It's very cool, and I do love the ukiyo-e-esque art style, but for now, I think it would be best to hold on to any copies you end up collecting, and keeping an eye out for a less interactive board building format to leverage this card's unique strengths. But what do you all think? Is there a rogue strategy that I overlooked that can take full advantage of this card? Or is it more effective against the current playing field than I'm giving it credit for? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed, please make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you all so very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.